Hi team, I hope you're all well. It is Tuesday morning, Tuesday the 4th of March, and I'm going to start a 24-hour readathon today with my battery dying. Fantastic start. So we're going to do a 24-hour readathon. It is going to be a timer challenge. I have put my iPad on charge. It is currently 8:30 in the morning. I've got a late start. So tomorrow will be a longer day, I think, as far as reading is concerned. But I have decided that I'm going to shop my shelves. I'm partway through 2 books and I would like to finish both of those books. I'll tell you about them in a second when I've shopped my shelves and I can run through exactly what it is that I've got in my basket. I have decided to start doing this because I really enjoyed it. I did it a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember what video it was, but if I remember I'll leave it up here. And I really enjoyed it. It gave me the chance to mood read and I had a very good time with what I was reading and I want to do it again. So we're going to give that a go. I can shop my shelves of literally anything and everything. I can take books off of my actual TBR, which I am in the mood for a couple of those, which is fantastic news. So we're just going to do that and see how much of this I can get through. So let's go shop my shelves and replace this battery before it completely dies.
Another rainy afternoon, I don't know what I'm to do. I just miss you more than anything. It's way too quiet in the house. I'm just wasted on the couch, 'cause I don't wanna...
Okay, I have my basket of goodies. I may have got a bit of carried away. It is what it is. So the 2 books that I am currently partway through and I would like to finish in this vlog. One of them will probably end up being a nighttime read. It is a Kindle read and it's Worth Every Penny by Ray Rider. I did start this in the last reading vlog, in which I was trying to do 100 pages a day. So I did start this then. I did read a little bit more last night, so I'm a little bit further on than I was when that vlog wrapped up. I'm now 289 pages in, 67%. There's 434 pages in this, so I've got, you know, 150-ish pages to go. So I think I might try and make that like my evening read. I'm hoping that I can still finish this one. We'll see how that one goes. So there's that one, which is a contemporary romance. It is a billionaire's romance. And then the other book that I'm partway through is The Rebel Witch by Kristen Cicerelli, which I think is the first book that I will try and focus on finishing. I'm currently 144 pages into this one and I'm having a good time. So I'm hoping it won't take me too much longer to finish this one off and try and get this through this as quickly as possible so I can move on to something else. I don't want to start a new book until I've finished this one or the other one at least. The other one would take me probably less time to get through, but I feel like this, I don't know. I'm in a little bit of a romantic mood, I've got to be honest. So yeah, I want to finish this one off. This is the second one to The Crimson Moth, in which we are following a witch and a witch hunter. The witch is Rune, she is the Crimson Moth, and the witch hunter is Gideon. And in the first one, we had a situation in which they kind of ended up in a little bit of a romantic relationship. Gideon suspected Rune was the Crimson Moth. She was doing very, very well to try and hide her secret identity, and it kind of all came to blows at the end, and this is continuing that series on. So I'm not going to tell you the synopsis of this because I don't want to spoil anything that happens in the first book. So I think that's going to be the first book that I tried to focus on for this vlog for sure. Potentially maybe even dip in and out with Worth Every Penny actually as well. So maybe I'm doing sprints with patrons. I've got them starting at 9:30. So maybe I could do like a sprint on Worth Every Penny and a sprint on The Rebel Witch and try and finish them both today. I don't know. Then I did pick up Blood and Steel by Helen Shearer, the first book in the Legends of Thesmar series. This is a patron buddy read for me, and the months that we were reading this were February and March, so this is the month for me to be picking this one up. I do have the novella prequel to this, so I might just read that or I might try and get to this as well. As I said, I'm in a fantasy romance mood, romanticy mood, and a couple of my patrons have started this one and are enjoying it already, so that's a potential. Then I did pick up, I also picked up God of Pain. I don't know if I'm going to get to this one or not. It is a chunky one, but I've been sent God of Pain, God of whatever the hell the other ones are, God of Wrath and God of Ruin by Del Rey, so I feel like I should be picking these up and at least giving them a try. I did DNF God of Malice, so we'll have to see how that goes, but this is a potential option. It's chunky though, so I don't know, we'll see. Then let's do the others first. I do have a Serial Killer's Guide to Marriage by Asia McKay. This came in the other day and I really fancy reading this one. It sounds fantastic. It's about a married couple, Hazel and Fox, and they used to be serial killers, but they ended up retiring from that job because Hazel fell pregnant. However, she's got the itch to go back to serial killing, and she ends up doing it behind Fox's back, and it gets them in a little bit of bother, and it just sounds fantastic, and it sounds very reminiscent of like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but serial killer vibes instead, you know? So I'm excited for this. Actually, it does say murder has never been so funny. If you liked Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you'll love this, from Claire McIntosh on the back. So it does give me Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibes, which is one of my favourite movies. So this sounds great. I quite fancy that, actually. And you know, I love me a good like thriller in a day type situation as well. I do have an arc of I Am Not Jessica Chan by Anne Liang. I quite fancy the thought of this one. This sounds really good. We are following Jenna Chen, who spent her life in the shadow of her cousin Jessica Chen, and she ends up, I think, in a situation where maybe they like swap bodies or something, and then nobody can remember that Jenna Chen was even a person. So I don't know how that goes, but it sounds really interesting. I think this has already come out in hardback. I'm not sure. It says on the side April 25, and then on the back it says 27th of Feb. So that's confusing, but I do have an arc of this, so I'm tempted to give this a read. It sounds really good and it could be fast. And then I do have a couple of books off of my 25 books in 2025. I really need to be making some progress on that TBR. So I've got Rainbow Grey, Eye of the Storm by Laura Ellen Anderson, which is a middle grade and will be quick and fast paced to get through because it's heavily illustrated. And then I also have Spy Family Volume 5 as well, which would complete 2 prompts on my 12 books from 12 friends for sure. And then another one that would complete on 25 books in 2025 is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton, which is actually on my TBR for the month of March, and also is my non-fiction pick for the month of March, and is my Buzzwordathon pick for March as well. So that would annihilate like 75 million birds with one stone, you know? So this is potential if I fancied a non-fiction. I also pulled off Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren off of my actual TBR for March as well. Quite fancy potentially being hurt, so this could be an option for that. And then last but by no means least, I pulled Days at the Morisaki Bookshop off my shelf as well. Also potentially fancy being hurt, but I really need to redeem myself with translated fiction after DNFing Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I'm still not over that situation, honestly. I genuinely thought that was going to be a new favourite translated fiction book. Did not work out that way. So I quite fancy this. It will get me translated fiction for the month. It will also get me the Buzzwordathon pattern for the month as well. Books on the cover. So could also be an option, and it is on my March TBR as well. Actually, not officially, it's not, but yeah. So the TBR that I pulled off is quite hefty. There's no way I'm getting through all of this, obviously, but the whole point is that I'm shopping my shelves, I'm taking books off of my shelves and choosing what to read, doing it that way around instead of going to the bookshop and picking something new and then putting it on my shelf and not actually reading it for months on end. This is a different way of doing it, and I quite like doing this. So as I said, I am going to start with trying to get through The Rebel Witch and get this finished. I may dip in and out with Worth Every Penny, I'm not sure yet. I do need to go and get my iPad and make sure that that is charged and get the timer started. But it is now, what time is it? 8:52. So I'll probably start at 9 o'clock. So yeah, let's get on with that, shall we? Hello, it's 3:30 in the afternoon and I'm here to give you an update. It's taken me a while because I've been dipping in and out of 2 books. So that's why it's taken me a hot minute to come back and update you. There are 17 hours and 54 minutes on the clock. And I have finished my first book of the readathon, which was Worth Every Penny by Ray Ryder. I really liked this. This was a billionaire romance. We're following Nico Hawkston, and I think the other 2 books in the series are going to be following his brothers. So he's one of 3. And we're also following Kate Lanson, whose brother Jack is Nico's best friend. Now, Nico, the Hawkstons own a very lucrative business in hotels, and Kate's dad was working, well, was supposed to be selling the company to Nico, and it all fell through right before he passed away. And Kate has never forgiven Nico for that because she thinks it's his fault why it all fell through, and that it's his fault why her dad died. So many years have gone by, about 8 or 9 years have gone by, and we're in a position now where Jack is actually selling the company, the Lanson business, to Nico, but keeping his sister and Kate for this spa business that is a new venture kind of for the Hawkstons. She's fucking livid because she didn't know anything about this, and this is where we end up in this situation where she ends up working with Nico. And as it turns out, she's also always had a crush on Nico, and it would appear that it's reciprocated. He just kept it to himself because it's his best friend's little sister. So we kind of have this story then from this point onwards. I haven't ran this fully through Corpel yet, but I think it's going to get about 4 stars. It was really good. I really enjoyed the writing, actually. It's set in the UK, it's set in London, and I really enjoyed that. I really liked the Britishisms in there, and I had a very good time with the writing style. I think the reason why it's not getting a full 5 stars for me is because of the miscommunication. It is a trope that bugs me. I fully understand the reason why there was the miscommunication, so I'm not penalising it too much, but it did bug me nonetheless. They could have just communicated a lot earlier and there wouldn't have been so many problems. But overall, I really enjoyed Nico and Kate as characters. I am excited to potentially see some more of them in the rest of the series when we follow, I'm assuming we will follow Matt and I've forgotten the name of his other brother, Seb. I don't know whose book comes next, but I'm assuming that's going to happen. Seb is the youngest brother, I think, and Matt is the eldest, I think, if I remember correctly. So that's where I'm up to with that. I have also been making progress on The Rebel Witch as well, and I'm now currently on page 368, so this is going to be my next task to finish this off. I have just over an hour of this left, and then I'm going to move on to An Alchemist's Vow, which is by Helen Shearer, which is a novella prequel for Blood and Steel, because I want to read that, I think, over the next couple of days. So I'm going to move on to this, and then I think I'm going to dip in and out of Days at the Morisaki Bookshop and Blood and Steel, because I would like to get to both of those, and then I don't know if I'll have time for something else because Blood and Steel is not short. I don't know how long An Alchemist's Vow is, actually. I haven't checked to see how many pages. Here's a novella. Oh, 63 pages. This won't take me long at all. I'm actually tempted to kind of do that first, and then I'm not reading this and Blood and Steel back to back. Or maybe I need to do that. We'll see. Anyways, my intention is to finish this off, read this, and then move on to either Days at the Morisaki Bookshop or Blood and Steel, whichever one I decide to pick up first. So that's what I'm going to do next. I thought I should come on and give you an update, and update on where I'm up to with the timer. I haven't been stopping starting this, by the way. I did do sprints with my patrons. So I've not been stopping starting this. We're on 17 hours, 49 minutes now. And I'm going to go and continue on with my reading until Andy gets home later. Okay, it is 17:19 and I have 16 hours and 19 minutes left on the clock. And I've finished The Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli. I did not realise that's how you pronounce her name. I've been calling her Ciccarelli. My apologies. Kristen Ciccarelli, it was said at the end of the audiobook. I really enjoyed this. I'm going to give this 4.5 stars. I really liked it. I love Rune and Gideon. I always really enjoy, you know, the whole witch hunter relationship thing. I loved it in Serpent and Dove, but didn't continue on with that series because I struggled with Blood and Honey twice. But I do like that dynamic where we've got like vampire hunter, witch hunter, that type of dynamic. I love it, and this series it just really worked well with. And I do feel like this is the sort of series that I will reread again and probably enjoy it even more the second time round. I'm not sure what it is about it, but there were moments where I was kind of, my concentration was dipping in and out and dipping in and out, and I kind of did follow along with the last like 50 to 100 pages while I was reading. I was immersion reading, so listen to the audiobook while following along with the book. But on occasion throughout the middle, I found that I was kind of phasing in and out a little bit with my concentration, and I do think that upon reread I will enjoy this a whole lot more. Same with Crimson Moth, actually, because I went into that with such low expectations. I enjoyed it so much more than I anticipated. That I just think that I overall, if I was to read these back to back, I would enjoy them a whole lot more. So really enjoyed this. Glad that I finished this series off. I reckon this could have been a longer series in all honesty as well. I think that it could have been a trilogy, but I think it's worked really well as a duology. I wouldn't be mad at following different characters from this series actually either, if, you know, Kristen made the decision to do that at some point. But loved this. This was really good. 4.5 stars. What I have made the decision to do is not dive straight into An Alchemist's Vow, because I don't think that would be a clever idea once I've sat and thought about it, to go from one romantasy straight into another. So I have decided to pick up Days at the Morisaki Bookshop by Satoshi Yagasawa, which is translated fiction, and this one is following 25-year-old Takakao, who never really liked reading. And in the first chapter of this book, so this is split into 2 parts, so this was my thought process. I was going to do part 1 and then read that little novella and then make a decision whether or not to read part 2 today or save it for tomorrow to break up Blood and Steel and then start Blood and Steel until Andy gets home. But I may just even smash my way through this because I am enjoying it already so far. I'm not that far in. I am literally like 9 pages in. But we're following Takako, and in the beginning of this, she's having a meal with her boyfriend when he suddenly tells her that he's getting married. Not that they're getting married, but that he's getting married. And for the last 2 years while he's been seeing her, he's been seeing another girl at the office as well. And they are getting married. And shocking. Literally shocking. I couldn't imagine it. She finds herself over the next couple of weeks no longer eating, not sleeping properly. They all work in the same office and she doesn't know if the other woman knows about her, and she just gets to a point where she just quits her job. She cannot do it anymore, and she ends up with this phone call from her uncle called Satoru, who runs a bookshop, the Morisaki bookshop, and says to her, look, why don't you, instead of paying bills on the flat that you can't afford to pay because you're not working anymore, why don't you come and stay with me for a little while? You can stay in the bookshop for free, just help me out with the bookshop a little bit, opening up, closing, when I'm, you know, at hospital appointments. He's got a back problem. However, this uncle of hers, she's not seen him in over a decade, and he's kind of, I don't want to say like, okay, in the UK, I don't know if this is a worldwide thing or not, but for sure in the UK, every family's got an Uncle Knobhead, where, you know, he's the uncle that will maybe ask inappropriate questions or make a scene at family do's or whatever. You know, everyone's got an Uncle Knobhead, and I imagine, without saying so much, I imagine that that is what Satoru is to this family in a way. I don't think that that's actually going to be the case in the end. I think it's just going to be that he was younger back then, over a decade ago when she last saw him, and people grow up, you know, no matter the age. But she's going to end up staying with him, I think, and this is going to be a healing, cozy fiction, translated fiction about life, love, and the healing power of books. And I think it's going to be really sweet. And the audiobook for it is only like just not shy, well, like 4.5 hours, I think, and I can do that in less than 2 hours. So there's a possibility I could finish this before Andy gets home, but I might not get a chance to pick anything else up. So I'm umming and ahhing. I'm going to see how I feel when I get to part 2 and then make a decision on whether or not to continue on with this or save the other half for tomorrow. Part 2 is around the 69 page mark, so you know, it's quite halfway. So yeah, I'm gonna see how this goes though, and I've decided to move on to this, and then I may pick up The Alchemist Vows. An Alchemist, at some point I will get that title right, An Alchemist Vows. But I will keep you posted. I'm enjoying this so far. It's going well so far. I'm liking the storytelling. It's going better than Before the Coffee Gets Cold already, so that's great news. Good morning. It is Wednesday and it's currently 20 past 8 in the morning. I had every intention of getting up with Andy this morning. I'm really struggling to get up in the morning. I don't know what's wrong with me. I got into such a routine before Christmas, before the new year actually, of getting up with him every single morning that he had work. I was up with him at 5:30 and I was getting on with my day. And the only time I might not do it is if I had work from my dad, because I didn't start work, I didn't need to leave the house till like 9:30. So I have ADHD, so I can't really start working on something when I have an appointment or need somewhere, so there's somewhere else I need to be by a certain time in the day. It's a struggle for me, which is why all my appointments tend to be in the morning. So, because I would get distracted and then I'd end up late. So then Andy ended up with flu and ended up off work for a week, and I was sleeping down here, and I got myself back into a shit sleep routine where I was awake again then till 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd managed to get into a really good sleep routine where I was going to bed for like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I was flat out for 11, and it was incredible because that's probably not happened to me since I was a baby. And then I think I can't remember if I started getting back into that routine or whether I just never did. Then I ended up with a cold, and he slept down here for a couple of weeks, and this cold just seems to be dragging on and dragging on and dragging on. And again, I'm still up till like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was up till about 10 to 1 last night. And this morning, I've just really struggled to try and get up with him. I was like still asleep when he came in to get changed. I only woke up when he said bye. So anyway, I've just got up and I've got changed, and it's 20 past 8. So we still have 14 hours and 14 minutes left on the clock. I think this is going to end up dragging into tomorrow a little bit, which I'm a little bit gutted about. I am at work tomorrow, So one of two things needs to happen. Either I have to get up at first thing in the morning with Andy when he goes to work, if I can fucking manage it, or I have to sort myself out before he gets home from work, because he won't be home from work till about 8 o'clock tomorrow night, and I will be home about 5ish. So I'll have a few hours in the evening, but I need to try and get this down as much as I can today. I'm currently in the middle of 2 books. I did mention to you yesterday that I was going to start days at the Morisaki bookshop, and I did, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm currently on page 44. I didn't do what I said I was going to do and get to part 2. I got to page 44 because I was really, what I really wanted to do was start Blood and Steel. I didn't end up reading An Alchemist's Vow, and the reason why is that when I started reading some of the reviews, and somebody else in my Patreon mentioned it as well, that they'd read it and then started Blood and Steel, pretty much everything that's mentioned in that prequel novella is in Blood and Steel. It's almost like a redundant novella a little bit. I think it just follows one different character in the book than the main characters, and just gives you maybe a little bit more information about their life, and that's it. But otherwise everything else is in Blood and Steel, so I made the decision to skip that. I can always go back if I want to, I've already got it. So I did start this and I'm really enjoying it. We're at a point now where Takakawa is starting to get used to her uncle a little bit more. She's starting to see and understand the pleasantries of the bookshop. She's making friends with the cafe owner's worker or daughter or something across the street, and she's starting to, I feel like, you know when you've been asleep for a really long time, you open your eyes and you kind of see the world differently. I don't know if that's a genuine thing or not, but maybe you've had a really terrible vivid dream and you wake up and things are different for you, or something, or somebody explains something like that. I feel like this is what this main character is feeling and is going through. Like, she's just been kind of stumbling through life, her whole life, and she's ended up in the situation now where everything's just kind of imploded for her, and now she's in very unknown territory and she's having to start afresh, and it's really opening her eyes to new things. I'm very excited to see where this goes. I'm really enjoying it so far, and it's going by quite quickly. So I do want to finish that today. I have about maybe an hour and a half, if that, left on that. And then, as I said, I did start Blood and Steel last night as well by Helen Shearer, and I am on page 87 so far, and I'm really enjoying this already. It took a minute to kind of get into it, but I'm really enjoying it already. So I'm going to read the synopsis because I don't actually know the full ins and outs of what's going on in this book. I can tell you what I know so far in the 87 pages, but I'll tell you at what point things stop being true in the synopsis. Well, not stop being true, that I haven't got to yet. With her death foretold, Althea Zoltaire only has 3 years to become what she's always dreamed of, being a warrior legend. So she's currently 24, and she's got this pendant, this jade pendant, that essentially has foretold that she will die at 27. Now, nobody knows, including her, at what point at 27 she will die. The day she turns 27, the middle of being 27, the day before she turns 28. Nobody knows. So she's got 3 years. That's where we're up to with that. Women are forbidden to wield blades, so she is trained in secret her entire life. Now, racing against the clock, she fights to secure her place in the elite guild charged with the protection of the 5 kingdoms. So a law was put into place many years ago in which women were no longer allowed to wield. Now, it turns out that the army that kind of protects these people was originally all women warriors, and then over the years it changed and male warriors came in as well, and then this law came in because apparently the last war that happened, it was something to do with a woman that caused it, and naturally the men decided that they were going to put a stop to this and just ended having women warriors entirely. So you're no longer allowed to walk around with a weapon, etc, etc. Turns out though that Thea ended up with this weapon about 6 years ago, and she's been secretly training with it, and she's been caught with it. So this is where we're up to now. The sparring and hazing of the new trainees border on deadly, but even more dangerous is her growing attraction to Wilder Hawthorne, her unwilling warrior chaperone. All around them, schemes are afoot and darkness looms. Will Althea pass the perilous initiation test and take her place as champion of Thesma, or will the invading evil snatch away her dream before it starts? So she's now on this journey, the point at which I'm at, she's now on this journey to go and join this fight thing. She's on her way to go and join it, to plead with the king and queen and see whether or not she can join the elite guard thing. But obviously, as it's mentioned, there's this whole entire thing that you've got to try and get through, and I'm hoping that she makes it through. But I'm really interested so far. I'm having a very good time. There is already tension between Thea and Wilder, which is so good to see. And he, you know, straight off the bat, there's kind of like this he's a dick energy, essentially, but every now and then he does kind of soften with her, and it's nice to see, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I have tabbed a couple of things. I didn't feel the need to initially, but then a couple of things are mentioned and I was like, I really wish I was tabbing this now. So yeah, I'm having a good time with this so far, and I do think it could become a new favourite, which is fantastic news, because I have the whole series and we're doing the buddy read with my patrons. There is also Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. No, Slaying the Vampire Conqueror is Carissa Broadbent. Slaying the Fae Prince. There is a book that's kind of associated with this, and I found like 3 different reading orders. I think one of them is the release order, one of them is the order in which the books actually should go in as far as like the events of the book, and I think the other one is like the emotional impact, and I think I want to read it in that order. So let me see if I can find the picture. Yeah, there. So chronological order, Slaying the Shadow Prince it is. Chronological order, publication order, and then emotional impact. So I want to go for the emotional impact order, I think, because I can't do chronological order now anyway, because I should have started with Slaying the Shadow Prince. If I was going in publication order, Slaying the Shadow Prince would be after this, but as far as emotional impact is concerned, I've got to read this, Vows and Ruin, which is book 2, and then Slaying the Shadow Prince, and then book 3 and 4. So I think I'm going to do that and just make that an option for my patrons. If they want to pick that one up, they can do. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this so far, and I'm having a very good time. The world building's really interesting. It did take me a hot minute to kind of get into it, but I am now into it, and I'm very excited to try and plow my way through this today. I did work it out. I've got less than 5 hours on the audio of this left, and I've got about 1.5 hours left on the audio of this. So I've got approximately 6.5 hours here, and I've got 14 hours left on the clock. So I will be able to fit something else in. I've not 100% decided on what yet. I am tempted by Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I feel like this is a good time to be fitting that reading. But again, I could still end up with a whole bunch of hours left over. I'm not sure. Because I think the audiobook for that one is like less than 9 hours, which is down to, I don't know, 4 hours if I'm on 2.5 speed. So that gets me up to 10. 10 and a half, 11ish, let's say. I've still got like 3 hours, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but we'll see what happens. I could end up with a few hours left over. It also depends on how the timing fits in with the rest of the week. We'll have to see. My intention was, again, just to do this in 2 days, but I've started way too late to do that and then ended too early in the evening. I did go to bed last night with the intention of reading some more of this, but just couldn't be bothered by the time I got in bed. So I am going to continue on with these. I need to get going and get on with these and get some more reading done and stop yapping, because this has been a really long update. So I will let you know when I've finished one of these. I think I'm going to do this for like another hour or so, and then maybe go back to this and try and finish this off, and then come back to this just to break this up a little bit so I don't actually get bored. But let's go and see how we get on. Hello. It's much later today. It is 2:19. I did take a little bit of a break for lunch. I've just taken like maybe, I don't know, 50 minute break for my lunch. We have 9 hours and 27 minutes. Oh shit. 9 hours and 27 minutes left on the clock. I've just been plowing my way through this. I haven't picked back up Days at the Morisaki bookshop at all. I've been making my way through this and I literally have, I think it's 45 pages left to go. And I am not sure what to do right now because I don't know whether, because I've had a break now and I've had some lunch, we are in like the thralls of the middle of something and I kind of desperately need to get back to it. However, I don't know whether to try and get through Days at the Morisaki bookshop first because I see myself wanting to pick up the next one immediately. I don't think I'm going to get to Love and Other Words today. I think I'm going to want to immediately pick the second one up of this because I'm obsessed. I love this. This is so good. So now I don't know what the best thing is to do. I don't know whether it's best to keep Days at Morisaki bookshop as a break between this and the second one, or whether to keep Days at the Morisaki bookshop because at some point I don't tend to binge books for the reason that I do very quickly get bored, and it won't necessarily be the book's fault, it's me. I can get bored if I'm stuck in a world for too long. So maybe Days at the Morisaki bookshop will be good for breaking that up if in a few hours time I've gone straight into book 2 and I'm starting to get, you know, I'm flagging a little bit and I need something to break it up. Maybe Days at the Morisaki bookshop will be good for that. Or whether it's best to finish Days at the Morisaki bookshop so that I can go straight into book 2 and binge these two back to back. I have 35 minutes left of this. I have, I think it's about an hour and a half of Days at the Morisaki bookshop left. Let me have a quick butchers. An hour and 18 minutes of Days at the Morisaki bookshop, which gets us to around 2 hours, which will get us down to 7 something. And then how long is Vows and Ruins? 15 hours and 51 minutes. 2.5 speed. 6 hours and 20. So it's doable. In the time that I have left, it is doable for me to be able to get to book 2 as well. I'm tempted to save Days at the Morisaki bookshop for if I do start to flag with Vows and Ruin. I might do that. I'm going to see how this ends and then make a decision. I think that I'm not picking up Days at Morisaki bookshop now. I've got fucking 40 odd pages left. I'm just going to finish this off. Let's do that. Okay, hello, let's talk about Blood and Steel. I have immediately come upstairs to get Vows and Ruin, but I have just finished Blood and Steel, and while I put together a tab thing, one of these doodads for this book, I thought we could talk about the book I just finished because it was fucking amazing and I loved it. It's not very often that I immediately want to go into the next book in a series because I do, as I've just mentioned to you about 35-40 minutes ago, I do get bored very quickly, and it's not the book's fault, it's me. I just struggle, that pink's nice. I just struggle a lot with being in one place for too long, which is hilarious because I've just sat here and binged the rest of that book in essentially 2 sittings. I nipped to the shop halfway through. You know, on occasion it happens, but not very often. I get restless being stuck in one place for too long, including a certain world. However, I don't know what it is about this series, about these characters. I'm just really hooked and I really want to spend some more time with them. So I am going to go straight into Vows and Ruin. I really enjoyed this book. I loved it a lot, actually. I had a fantastic time. I I really enjoyed the characters and the world building. I was really worried actually that Helen might do a Rebecca and kill off some of our favourite characters, side characters. So far, I'm safe, but, you know, doesn't mean that that's gonna last. So we'll have to see how that goes. But, sorry, I'm super distracted because I'm trying to put some tabs together. And I'm trying to multitask so that I can go straight downstairs and start this book. Essentially. But yeah, I absolutely love this. I thought it was fantastic and I had such a good time. Very excited to go into book 2 and continue straight on so that I don't forget anything. I'm supposed to be doing this as a buddy read with my patrons. I can't remember if I'd committed or not to doing a vlog or something for them. I can't remember, but I've essentially just blasted through this book in less than 24 hours and I haven't done that. So sorry guys. But yeah, we're supposed to be doing one every 2 months. And Blood and Steel was meant to be February and March, and then Vows and Ruin is supposed to be April and May. Apparently I'm not doing that anymore. I don't stick to my own rules. So yeah, I'm giving this 5 stars. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved the writing style. I loved the characters. I loved the world building. I just thought the whole thing was incredibly well done and I'm so excited to read more. I'm extra excited because Iron and Embers obviously came in the Fairy Loot Romantasy box for February. So, you know, once I've finished the Legend of Thesmar series, I can start on that one, which is a series I think set after, I don't know how many years after Legend of Thesmar, but I think it's set in the same world, so that's exciting. So yeah, I'm gonna put together a sticker thing, a tab thing, and get to work on this book. So I will check in with you when I have an update for you. Hellos. Okay, it's Friday. This vlog, yet again, as with my last 24-hour reading vlog, timer challenge, struggles, 24-hour timer challenge, it's ended up going over the 2 days I anticipated. We're on Friday. I did a little bit yesterday, not too much, but we've still got 4 hours 16 minutes left on the clock. This is what happens when I'm no longer getting up with Andy in the morning, because I started the vlog at like 9 o'clock on Tuesday and then I didn't start again then until I think it was again 9 o'clock on Wednesday. So that cuts out a whole bunch of hours, especially when I usually get up with Andy at 5:30. So I would start the vlog at 6. Cuts out 3 hours of both days, which would have had me finished with this challenge by now. So alas, 4 hours and 16 minutes. Here's the update. I haven't read any more on Days at the Murasaki bookshop. I still intend to finish this though. I do want to go back to it and get it read. Vows and Ruins though, which is the book that has completely, you know, tripped me up entirely with this entire thing. I am currently on page 305, so I can still get this finished. I have less than 2 hours left on the audio of this and then an hour and a half left on the audio of Days at the Murasaki bookshop, so I can still get both of these books finished. I just actually need to find the time to sit down and do that. I have ended up buying a physical copy of Slaying the Shadow Prince by Helen Scheuer. She does they're in the back of Blood and Ruin, I'm fairly certain it was, that she mentions how to pronounce her name, and it's like Helen Scheuer, but it's like, she says it's Toira, I think it is, but Shoira. I will get it right at some point. My apologies, Helen, if you happen to be watching this. Also, hey, I love your books. So yeah, I have ended up, although it's on Kindle Unlimited and that's where I was going to read it, because I'm tabbing these, I know I'm probably going to want to do the same thing with Slaying the Shadow Prince, and I know it's very, very popular and I'm very excited about it. So that's going to be the next one I pick up after this. Maybe, I don't know if it'll be immediately after. I do have, you know, books that I should be picking up for other reasons, and next week is Box Readathon, so I won't be able to pick it up for that, but maybe I pick it up in the background, I don't know, or the week after. I've got like a whole TBR that I'm supposed to be going through this month, including It by Stephen King, and this series has completely derailed my entire life. I mean, I'm not mad about it, but come on. Right, so I'm still really enjoying this. I'm having a very good time. Things did take a turn a little bit. It was one of those situations where, like, so this is going to be a really weird comparison maybe for some people, but the Poppy War, for example, I loved, absolutely, irrevocably loved book 1 in the Poppy War trilogy, because we were at the point in which Rin, I'm fairly certain she's called Rin, was at the training place. So she's at the school, she's training, she's learning stuff, and I loved that. And then when we left to go out to war, the change took me too long probably to get used to. That entire series was 5-star for me. I loved it, but it took me a while to get used to the fact that we were no longer in this school. She was no longer training and learning shit. She was now out at war, and it took me a hot minute because I really liked where we were and I didn't want that to change. I don't like change, okay? I've got ADHD, I don't like it. So it took me a while. Now in this one, partway through, we've ended up leaving Thesmar, because we've ended up on a little bit of a journey with Thea and Wilder for reasons. Not going to go into it because it spoilers massively, and it took me a minute to decide whether or not I liked this change. I wasn't certain, I wasn't sure. I feel like they've learned a lot about each other, about themselves in this process, but yeah, we ended up leaving Thesmar for reasons. I think we may be about to go back, which I'm glad about, because I like it at Thesmar. I like it when they're with the other people, with Kip and Carl and with Torj and Ren, and because I like the characters, I like the side characters. So I'm glad we're going, I think we're going back. I'm glad I think we're going back. So yeah, I'm at this point anyway. The back and forth between Thea and Wilder, I will say, I'm kind of enjoying it, but I just feel like they're not trying hard enough to stay away from each other at all. They're doing terribly with it. I hope we're done with the back and forth of that now, and we're at a point where they've made a decision, and that will be the decision they stick with, you know, but we'll see. But I'm loving this so far. Aim is to potentially get this done today, or at least another hour into it today. I've just been editing a video. Andy's downstairs playing on chords, so I'm going to take entire full advantage of that before he decides he might want to do something today. So I'm going to try and take advantage of it and try and get some reading done now and get some more of those hours down. So let's go and do that. It's 2:52. I have 2 hours left on my timer. I finished Vows and Ruin. Oh, Helen's got a lot to answer for here. Fucking hell. The ending of this book, what the fuck. I am so grateful that I don't have to wait for the next book to come out. It's already on my shelves. The fact that my heart is racing, the fact that I am going to break this series up by reading Slaying the Shadow Prince now seems like a bad idea, but I have a feeling that it will tie in very much so. There's clearly a reason why the emotional impact is at this point, and I just hope that comes through. This series has me in a chokehold. The end of this book, what the fuck, Helen? Why? For what reason? Why would you do such a thing? Oh. 5 stars. I don't know what to tell you. I am obsessed. I'm obsessed. This hurt me. The end of this has really hurt me. I'm very wounded. I don't know what to say because I can't spoil anything. There was a lot of reveals in this. I semi-predicted one of them. Did not predict the end though at all in the slightest. That has definitely shook me to my core, and I just don't know what to do with this information. I want to move immediately into slaying the Shadow Prince, but I think we might be going out to see the boys imminently. So I now need to calm down. My heart is going 10 to the dozen. That has shaken me to my core, that ending. What do I do with myself now? The thing is, I've gone steaming ahead with this read along as well, because I'm supposed to do this with my patrons. So the Blood and Steel book was supposed to be February and March's book. Vows and Ruin is supposed to be April and May's book, and I've gone steaming ahead. We're still in March and I've finished Vows and Ruin. So I right now don't have anyone to talk to about this book. I'm gonna have to push them. My powers of persuasion will have to come into play here. My influencer ways will have to come into play here. This, what the fuck? I have a feeling this series is gonna hurt me so bad. So bad. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I will be finishing this off at some point and getting those 2 hours down. I think I have like an hour and a half left on days of the Murasaki bookshop. I can't, my heart is beating so fast. My anxiety is through the roof. But like in a good way. I think I will end up with about maybe half an hour left on the clock from this challenge, which is fine. I don't know what to say. I'm obsessed. 5 stars. Shit. I'm in pain. I need to go. Check back in with you when I have another update. Maybe I might have some more thoughts about this once I've calmed down. I literally finished it right before I came on, so fucking hell, Ellen.
I don't wanna let you down. It's the only thing I think about every morning. You know my life ain't figured out, but I promise if you stick around it'll never get boring. We'll spend nights, cheap red wine, look at flats even though we can't afford them. I don't wanna let you down, I don't wanna lose you now. Will you stay even when you wanna walk away? When times get bad, we can learn to love what we have. I don't wanna let you down. In my life without you would be boring, and we'll spend nights, cheap red wine, look at flats even though we can't afford them. I don't wanna let you down, I don't wanna lose you now. I don't wanna let you down. when times get bad, we can learn to love what we have. I don't wanna let you down. 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 We'll spend nights, cheap red wine, look at flats even though we can't afford them. I don't wanna let you down. I don't wanna let you down. No, no, no. I don't wanna let you down.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. You and I, we got it. We don't need no more. Even in the hard times, you and I can weather any storm. Before I sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon. Side by side and through. No limit to what we can do.
Okay, hellos, it is 8:15 on Monday morning. I cannot believe how early the sun is coming up now. It makes me so happy, I'm not gonna lie. I am very much a winter baby. Always have been, on the basis that I'm born in winter. But over the years, as I've gotten older, autumn has become my favourite season of the year. However, I don't know what's gone on. I don't know if it's our autumn and winter, definitely winter, but autumn as well, was very cold and very kind of shitty weather. It was really damp, very, very, very cold, which I know is the point for winter, but in general, it wasn't a nice winter, I will say. So I don't know if it's that, or if it's just felt like it's gone on and on and on forever, but I am craving the sun, and that is not like me at all. I tend to shy away from the sun. Don't ask me why, but it explains the vitamin D deficiency. But yeah, I tend to shy away from the sun, but I have been craving it, and I am loving the sun coming up earlier, and I'm loving the sun being out. It was a glorious weekend, and I got quite a bit done on the weekend actually, social wise. So I don't remember the last time I spoke to you. It might have been Friday when I finished Vows and Ruin. Yes, it was Friday when I finished Vows and Ruin. Yesterday I did get a little bit of reading done, but not too much, but I did finish a book off. I was out with family for the most part, so after I spoke to you on Friday, we went to my brother's, me and Andy. Tara was having her hair done, so we took the kids up to the cricket club for a little kickabout and for a drink, which was really nice. And then we saw Tara when she got back from the salon. And then on Saturday we had, I can't remember for the life of me, my memory is fucking terrible, can't remember for the life of me for the most part what we did on Saturday. But in the evening we did end up going out, not in the evening, in the afternoon we did end up going out for a couple of drinks. The sun was out, it was absolutely glorious, so we did go out for a couple of drinks, nothing too crazy. I was in bed for about 8:30. I think we got home about 7ish, had some, oh no, we had some food while we were out. I think we got home about 7:30ish, and I decided to go up to bed. I was absolutely shattered. So I ended up having an early night, and it's kind of got me back into a little bit of a routine very quickly, which is great news because I'm sick to death of being up late in the night. So I did that. Yesterday we ended up going to Lytham St Anne's with Matt, Tara, the kids and a couple of friends of ours, Amy and Nathan, and then we went to the club. It was a little bit breezy, a little bit cloudy up at Lytham, and it seemed to be nicer back at home, so we went to the cricket club again for another couple of drinks and a bit of a catch up. Not seen Nathan and Amy in ages, which was lovely. I had loads of fun, and then came home, we had some tea, and yet again I was back in bed for about 7:30, 8 o'clock. So I think I was lights out for about 10 last night, which is amazing news, absolutely fantastic. So this morning I got up with Andy, which is great. So yeah, it was a lovely weekend. Such a busy and great week. I'm not gonna lie, I have had a fantastic reading week this week, and I'm having the best time with the series that I'm in the middle of. I did just want to show you as well that Slaying the Shadow Prince came in. I ended up getting this edition. This used to be, I think the hardback still has the cover that I'm thinking of. I'll show a picture of it here, but I thought that the paperback was the same, and it's not. It looks like they've redone the cover, and I'm obsessed. This is stunning. So I haven't started this yet. I'm very excited to do so, but this now coming week is Box Readathon with my patrons, so I'm doing an episode of Keep It or Eat It, so I think I'm gonna have to put the series just on the back burner for a week while I do that episode. Otherwise I will not focus 100% on that episode, and I really want to, because while I'm on a good roll, I'm hoping that I might get some good reads in. Fingers crossed, a girl can dream. So I did want to let you know that that has now come in, and it will be my next read for continuing on with the Legend of Thesma series. This is a standalone, but it includes characters from the Legend of Thesma series that are mentioned, not that we've seen, but that are mentioned heavily. So for emotional impact, it's recommended to read this at this point, so in between Vows and Ruins and also Fate and Furies. Yeah, nice. Your girl knows what she's talking about, honestly. So as far as reading this week as far as reading this week is concerned, it's gone quite well. I have had nothing less than a 4.5 star, which is fucking great news, because I have been struggling. I have been out here struggling this year so far. It's been difficult for me. However, this week I have finished 5 books, and nothing's been less than 4.5 star, and I've had 2 5-star reads. Fucking killing it. It's been great. This 24-hour challenge took so much longer than I anticipated. It took the whole week. However, I'm not bothered, because I had a great reading week, so I was living my best life. I do still have, I will say, I do still have 43 minutes left on the timer, but we're just going to cancel that off now because I'm done with this challenge. I'm not fitting something else in for the sake of 43 minutes, and I need to get on with editing this video so that I can get on with filming for episode 3 of Keep It or Eat It. So let's give you a rundown of what I read this week, and also give you my final thoughts on Days at the Morisaki Bookshop. So I did finish Worth Every Penny by Ray Ryder, and I really enjoyed this. I did give this one 4.5 stars. It was very good. The only reason it didn't get a 5 stars is because of the miscommunication trope in here, but this blew me out of the water, blew me out of the park. I wasn't expecting it. It was very unexpected. I didn't know the author until like the week before last. Hadn't even heard of the author. I ended up coming across her on Threads, which is fantastic, and I hadn't heard of this book. It is a trilogy, so I'm very excited to continue on with the series and see what goes on with the brothers. But I really enjoyed it. Billionaire romance. If you are looking for something along those lines, I would highly recommend. If you're a fan of the Dreamland Billionaire series, you will love this. It's great. I enjoyed it more than I don't know how to say that actually, because I did give Fine Print 5 stars, but I've never continued on with the series. But I did enjoy this more, but the miscommunication trope did bother me. And my apologies if you can hear the traffic and kids screaming outside or laughing. I've got the window open because it's gloriously sunny and I want to let the heat in so that I can take this off later on in the day. Anyway, so yeah, 4.5 stars for that one. I did also read The Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli, which I did give also 4.5 stars to. I think that when I come to reread the series, because I'm definitely determined to do so at some point, probably not this year, maybe next year, I think I will enjoy this a lot more upon reread. 100%. I don't know why, but I've also thought it with the Crimson Moth. It's just one of those series where I feel like upon reread I could enjoy it a lot more. You know, sometimes when you read something and you go, I know I will enjoy that more on second read. This is one of them. I loved this. It was great. So good to be back with Gideon and Rune. I would not be mad if Kristen revisited this series, maybe following some other characters, but having Rune and Gideon in the background, that would be great. But yeah, I have actually finished a series as well. Fantastic news for me, outside of Final Book Support Group, because I did fucking terribly with the first round of that this year. But I'm really proud of myself. This came in, I picked it up, I finished. So yeah, super happy with how that turned out. My apologies if this is on a different angle now, the battery just died. So yeah, super happy with that, 4.5 stars. I then went into Blood and Steel by Helen Shearer. I absolutely love this. This was fantastic. It knocked my socks off, I'm not gonna lie. I'm obsessed with this series. I'm obsessed with these characters. I cannot wait to get back to the series. I did have this prompt, new to you author, down for Fair Play by Louise Hegarty. I do still want to get to that book, but I can't guarantee it. Now that I'm in the middle of this series, I cannot guarantee it for this month. So I've had to make some changes, and I've put that prompt in here instead, because Helen is a new to me author. She's not now, but she was when I picked this up. So I've put it in here instead. Just wanted to explain myself with that. But I'm obsessed with this. I'm so excited to continue on and read more from Thea and Wilder. And it's also made me extremely excited for Iron and Embers, because when I got to book 2, Vows and Ruins, I have no idea. I didn't know actually until this morning, but I had no idea who Iron and Embers followed. I just knew it was set in the same world but following different characters, but I didn't know who. I didn't read the synopsis. I've never read the synopsis for Iron and Embers. I don't know who the characters are. I didn't till this morning anyway. And then partway through this one, I got to a point where I was like, listen to me now. I am shipping these two so hard. They better get their own, this better be a thing, and they better get their own series. As it turns out, Iron and Embers is already released. I'm so excited, so excited. I just need Helen to kind of like release the other 2 books in that trilogy pretty quickly, so that I can just binge the whole fucking lot. Like, if she could release them tomorrow, that would be great. Not gonna happen, but I believe that they're finished, so I don't know how long it will take for them to be released. I think they've been traditionally released. I'm not sure, so you know, it could be another couple of years before we get the other 2. However, these 2, absolutely love them, obsessed, 5 stars each. I cannot get enough of this series. I'm obsessed with the world building. I'm obsessed with everything that's going on in here, the magic system, the sisters with Thea and Ren. I'm obsessed with Wilder. I'm obsessed with everything in this, the war swords. I'm obsessed with Crip, Christopher and Cal. I'm obsessed with everybody in this series, even the assholes. So I can't wait to continue on with these series. Look at all them tabs. Look at all those chickens.
Look at all those chickens.
Anyway, obsessed, 5 stars each, which has obviously then led me on to Slaying the Shadow Prince, which I haven't started yet, but I will be doing. And then I did finish Days in the Morisaki Bookshop, which I really enjoyed, and I gave 4.5 stars. I had a very good time with this one. I'm so happy, because I was really starting to wonder whether or not translated fiction is actually for me, and the Kamagawa Food Detectives was just a fluke, or whether I just haven't had a good time with, you know, the last couple that I've read. What have I, oh yeah, The Full Moon Coffee Shop. That was okay. I didn't love it. And then also I DNF'd. I've ended up giving it to my brother to sell on. I DNF'd Before the Coffee Gets Cold as well, which I was really sad about, because I really thought I was going to love that one. So I was anxious going into this because of Before the Coffee Gets Cold, but I actually loved it. This was so good. Very, very much so like the healing kind of fiction that you're looking for. It's set in a bookstore. It's got this woman that's really struggling with a really bad breakup. at the beginning of the book, and ends up staying with her uncle at this bookshop. And it's just, you know, she's very abrasive, very me at the beginning of the book, and by the end of the book, the character arc that she goes through, phenomenal. I loved it. It was so sweet, and I'm very excited for more days at the Murasaki bookshop. I definitely want to read that soon, so gonna have to get my hands on that. But really love this one at 4.5 stars. So I had a banging time with this 24-hour readathon. I was already over, I think, I don't know how far through The Rebel Witch I was actually. I was well over halfway through Worth Every Penny, but I can't remember how far through The Rebel Witch I was, maybe like 100 and odd pages. So I was partway through 2 books, but I have finished 5 in total during this video. I mean, Blood and Steel and Vows and Ruins aren't exactly small books, so I think I did pretty well, and I'm so excited that I was able to continue with this series. I don't know, I'm still excited actually. I am excited. I'm not mad at myself for making that decision at all, but I don't know how much I might want to punch myself in the face by the end of the month for making that decision. I still have it on my TBR that I've got to get to at some point this month, and I don't know when I'm going to make that happen. So, you know, I still have the likes of Love and Other Words and Everything I Know About Love. I may have to do myself a little Jan Agerton cramming vlog at the end of the month, maybe. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I had a fantastic week this week. I'm feeling so much better about my reading. I'm really hoping that this vlog turns out okay. I did get a lot of footage this weekend, so I hope you enjoyed all of that came before this clip. Yeah, I just hope that this vlog has conveyed somehow that I am having so much more fun with my reads now. Maybe this is what I need to be doing. I'm semi-mood reading anyway with what I pick from my prompt jar. I do end up with like a stack of books next to me when I do my TBR that I probably should read out of, whether that be because it's for Buzzwordathon, or it's a non-fiction, or it's a classic, or it's translated fiction, or whatever, to kind of fulfill those goals that I have for each month throughout the year. But I'm kind of liking the freedom of being able to dip in and out of mood reading as well. So, you know, on occasion those books may change from my actual TBR. It's more of like an MBR, maybe read, but I pick the prompts out, and on occasion the book changes throughout the month, as I've done with Blood and Steel for the new to me author. So, you know, that's fine. I did manage to do my translated fiction and also the Buzzwordathon with the pattern on the cover, which was 4 books, so that's good news. I managed to complete that, which is fantastic news. So very happy with this reading so far. I'm really hoping it continues in Box. I'm really hoping the Box doesn't drag me down this week. I think I'm going to end up being super brutal with my books this week on that basis, because I do not want to let this mood go, because as soon as Box readathon is over, I'm going straight into this. Kind of hoping that following week I might be able to read this, Fate and Furies, and then also Shadows and Storms, so that I can finish off the Legend of Thesmar series. And then the final, I think, if it works out that way, the final week of the month I'll probably do as like a cramming vlog to try and get through the rest of my actual TBR, which is very intimidating to say the least. So yeah, fingers crossed that's how this goes. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Chat to me in the comments down below, and I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye for now.